Welcome back, Speed Minglers, to another essential episode of 21st Century Dating Decoded, the podcast dedicated to helping you master the modern landscape of love and relationships. I'm your host, Don, and I'm glad you're joining us for a topic that is unfortunately universal in today's dating world: identifying red flags and dealing with the emotional fallout of ghosting. In the age of endless swiping and instant communication, the rules of engagement are constantly shifting. But while technology has made meetings easier, it has also introduced new forms of confusion, heartache, and ambiguity. We've all been there, staring at a delivered message that never gets a response, or struggling to determine if that quirky trait is a sign of individuality or a critical red flag. Today, we are going to dive deep into these two defining challenges of digital dating: spotting the digital red flags. What are the non-negotiables, the subtle signs, and the major warning lights you need to be aware of when connecting with someone online? The ghosting epidemic. Why do people vanish without a trace? More importantly, how do you manage the psychological impact of being ghosted and move forward with your confidence intact? We will be looking at how to set healthy boundaries from the start, deciphering communication patterns, and offering actionable strategies for maintaining your mental health in a dating environment that can often feel disposable. This episode is about arming you with the knowledge and the emotional resilience you need to date smarter, not harder. So get ready to decode the unspoken rules of the digital age. Stay tuned, because right after this quick break, we'll formally begin navigating red flags and ghosting in the digital age. This is an episode every modern dater needs to hear. In an era fundamentally reshaped by instant messaging and dating applications, the dynamics of personal connection have undergone a profound transformation. While technology has democratized access to potential partners and friends, it has concurrently introduced a complex suite of new communication challenges. Among the most pervasive and psychologically taxing are the concepts of red flags, precursors to emotional harm, and ghosting, the abrupt, silent severing of contact. A thorough understanding of these phenomena is not merely helpful but crucial for individuals striving to cultivate genuine, healthy relationships in the digital sphere. Identifying and deciphering digital red flags. Red flags are not simply minor annoyances. They constitute significant warning signs that an individual may lack the emotional maturity or requisite intent for a healthy relationship, or may even pose a direct risk to one's emotional and mental well-being. In the inherently filtered and often asynchronous digital space, these indicators can be particularly subtle, necessitating a heightened sense of awareness. The most common and concerning digital red flags include inconsistent communication patterns. The hot and cold dynamic. This manifests as extreme, unexplained volatility in responsiveness. A partner might exhibit intense presence, engaging in lengthy, intimate conversations one day, only to become completely silent or distant for the next several days, without any justifiable explanation. This inconsistency can signify emotional unavailability, manipulative breadcrumbing, or a lack of genuine commitment to the connection. Excessive vetting or pressure for escalation. While establishing common ground is natural, a red flag is raised when an individual pushes too quickly for deep, personal, or even intimate information, often attempting to bypass the natural progression of acquaintance. Equally concerning is an insistence on moving the relationship forward, such as demanding exclusivity or an immediate first meeting, at a pace that clearly violates one's stated comfort level or boundaries. Vague or evasive answers and topic shifting. A consistent refusal to provide direct, transparent answers to reasonable questions about their life, work, social circle, or past may signal dishonesty or a significant attempt to conceal critical information. When confronted, this often manifests as constantly shifting the conversation to focus on the interlocutor or resorting to overly generalized, unspecific responses. Technology addiction and lack of presence. While widespread reliance on devices is common, an individual who displays an observable and extreme dependence on their phone can present a relational issue. This encompasses constant interruptions during voice or video calls, an inability to remain focused on a conversation without checking notifications, or an inherent dependency on the device that overrides social engagement. This suggests a difficulty with authentic, focused connection, inappropriate use of social media and public expression, oversharing excessive or highly negative personal details publicly, often referred to as trauma dumping, or more critically, making derogatory, disrespectful, or vengeful comments about former partners, indicates a potential lack of emotional regulation and a tendency to externalize blame. Their discourse regarding past relationships is frequently a predictor of how they will eventually speak about their current partner. Crucially, recognizing these patterns early provides the necessary insight to proactively set and enforce healthy boundaries, thereby protecting oneself from potential emotional distress and harm. The haunting silence of ghosting, root causes and impact. Ghosting, defined as the abrupt, complete cessation of all communication without providing any form of explanation, is a distinctly modern psychological pain point. Although unilaterally ending a relationship is not a new phenomenon, The architecture of the digital environment has made ghosting shockingly easy, widely accepted, and consequently, a pervasive relational problem. Experts attribute the rise of ghosting to a confluence of psychological and technological factors, ease of avoidance, and digital disengagement. Unlike the physical world, digital platforms allow for instant and complete disengagement. A simple block, an unmatched or an ignored message thread suffices to remove someone from one's digital existence, enabling a rapid escape from responsibility. Lack of perceived accountability. Without a face-to-face confrontation or the necessity of hearing the emotional impact of their decision, the ghoster feels significantly less responsibility or emotional burden for their actions. The physical distance afforded by the screen dehumanizes the process of ending a connection. Fear of conflict and emotional incapacity. For many, ghosting is not a malicious act but a perceived easier alternative to having an uncomfortable, difficult, or emotionally taxing conversation. It often stems from a lack of conflict resolution skills and an overwhelming fear of disappointing or hurting another person, though the ghosting itself invariably causes greater pain. While it is impossible to prevent ghosting entirely, mitigating the shock is possible. A sudden, sustained decrease in the quality, depth, or frequency of messages, or a string of unreturned calls following a period of active engagement, is often a preliminary sign that a connection is fading and complete silence may be imminent. Shield strategies for cultivating digital relationship resilience. Cultivating digital relationship resilience hinges on building a strong, resilient emotional infrastructure, which is the best defense in the often volatile world of digital dating, requiring a dual focus on intentionality and unwavering self-respect. A core strategy is to establish and communicate boundaries early by proactively defining and clearly communicating expectations for responsiveness, particularly regarding gaps in communication, and setting firm limits on the amount of deeply personal, financial, or intimate information one is willing to share during the initial getting-to-know-you phase. To prevent dwelling in a quote-unquote highly curated narrative, individuals should prioritize and expedite in-person meetings, recognizing that a connection built purely on text is not a full reality. It's important to move the interaction from a digital fantasy to real life as soon as it feels safe and appropriate. Scheduling a low-pressure meeting, such as a coffee date at a public place, to assess genuine chemistry and consistency. If one encounters challenges like ghosting, it is crucial to validate your feelings and practice radical self-compassion, acknowledging and processing the pain, frustration, and confusion without internalizing the rejection as a reflection of personal worth. Remembering that ghosting reflects the ghoster's emotional immaturity and inability to handle conflict, not a flaw in your character. Furthermore, when communication patterns feel confusing or a red flag is difficult to interpret, consult a trusted neutral party, such as a friend or advisor, who can offer an objective perspective unclouded by immediate emotional investment. Finally, for continuous protection, stay informed and seek continuous learning by keeping abreast of evolving digital etiquette, psychological discussions on online dating, and best practices for emotional health in the digital age, reviewing reputable resources like self-help or relationship psychology texts. In the complex and ever-changing world of digital connections, being proactive about emotional health, setting clear non-negotiable expectations, and learning to trust one's innate intuition remain the most powerful and effective defenses against the emotional volatility inherent in red flags and the silent, abrupt pain of ghosting. Wow, what an insightful conversation we've had today on navigating red flags and ghosting in the digital age. It's clear that while the dating landscape has changed dramatically with the rise of apps and digital communication, some fundamental truths about human connection remain. We dove deep into the crucial role of intuition, how those little gut feelings about a potential partner are often the most reliable red flag detectors we have. Remember, a red flag isn't always a dramatic explosion. It's often a consistent drip of small inconsistencies or discomfort. Don't rationalize away behaviors that genuinely make you uneasy. We also tackled the painful reality of ghosting. While it's a cowardly act, our best advice is to practice radical acceptance. Ghosting says everything about the ghoster's inability to communicate, and nothing about your worth. Close that door and refocus your energy on people who are capable of and willing to engage in mature communication. Here are a few key takeaways to carry forward into your dating life. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Pay attention to the disparity between what someone says and what they do. Set clear boundaries. Your boundaries are your protection. Communicate them early and often. A partner who respects your boundaries is a massive green flag. Look for green flags. Don't get so focused on red flags that you miss the signs of a healthy connection. Consistency, reliability, and genuine interest. Prioritize mental health. Dating in the digital age can be exhausting. Take breaks when you need them, and don't let rejection define your self-worth. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of 21st Century Dating Decoded, the official Speed Mingle podcast. We hope this conversation has empowered you to date more confidently, set firmer boundaries, and recognize the signs of both healthy and unhealthy dynamics. Join us next time when we talk about the throning and stacking phenomenon. Headphone Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.